Good afternoon, y'all. Welcome to ACM-W. Today we will be having the Women in Computer Science panel brought to you by ACM-W. So if you are not a computer science major or if you are a computer science major, we hope that you will learn a little bit more about our panelists and the challenges they have overcome. So I do notice that we have some new faces here. For all of y'all that are new, welcome to ACM-W. ACM-W is the Association for Computing and Machinery Women's Chapter, and it is a suborg underneath ACM. ACM-W was created in an effort to put a spotlight on one of the gender minority groups. However, we recognize that the name is not a requirement of entry, but as a focus of empowerment from where the organization stems from. ACM-W is an all-inclusive group to women, marginalized genders, and minority students. However, you do not have to fit that category to be a part of this org. This organization is a great organization to join if you are a CS student that is new to technology and are trying to find the different careers that you can obtain in the field of computer science. However, I do recognize that a bunch of y'all, or some of y'all, might not be computer science students. So while some of y'all might not be CS students, I hope that you're still able to learn a little bit more about computer science, and hopefully you're able to take those skills upon your major and into your career. Now, before we get started, if you are new to ACM and this is your first time here or you haven't registered to become a member, I will strongly encourage you to sign up to become a member. By becoming a member, you will be able to obtain free swag and free giveaways, and as of this year, membership is absolutely free. In the past, you would have to pay $20 to become a member, but because we are sponsored this year, it is now completely free. And by signing up with us, not only will you get free swag and free giveaways, but we also have amazing internship opportunities provided by our sponsors. So if you're interested in becoming a member, please scan that QR code. And last year, I believe that one of our lucky members who signed up to become a member, they ended up earning a personalized PC built that was worth like over $1,000 or something like that. So, that could be you this year, but we will have a special event coming up this spring for y'all and all of our members. But for those who are members, here's your signing link for today. So just go ahead and scan that QR code so we can keep track of any events that y'all are coming to. And by scanning this QR code, you will also be able to be in a raffle for a $10 gift card giveaway. So I know there's like a Freebirds that just opened up on campus. So, if you want to get some Freebirds or something, this is your chance to win that $10 gift card. So the winner will be announced via our ACM-W UTSA Instagram, so please stay tuned for that. But as y'all are still signing those QR codes, I will be going over some events that are coming up. On October the 7th, we will be having a game night, so come take a break from classes and de-stress with board games and new friends along the way. We will be playing some board games and also some Scribblio. Word on the street is that one of our officers, Mira, our public relations officer, is undefeated in Connect 4. So if you think you have what it takes to defeat her, come ahead and challenge her. Maybe you'll win a free prize or something. But on the 21st, we'll be having HEB come and talk about software engineering. So if you don't know what software engineering is, maybe you do know what software engineering is, come and learn more about their opportunities, and maybe you'll be able to obtain an internship application from them. And then on November the 4th, we will be also having another meeting, so stay tuned for that. For more information on those events, please follow us on our Instagram at acmw.utsa and on our Twitter at acmw_UTSA. Now, speaking about opportunities, HEB is one of our sponsors for this year, and this year they're offering 2022 summer internships. So if you're interested in cybersecurity, data solutions, IT, technology, software engineering, system developers, UI UX design, this is for you. So go ahead and scan that QR code. HEB and other sponsors are working students just like y'all who attend our meetings and are involved in the ACM-W. So if you keep on coming to our events, we'll provide more internship opportunities for y'all. So we hope to see y'all, keep coming to this event. But also, on October 23rd, San Antonio and UTSA will have their first marginalized gender-focused hackathon, and this hackathon is targeted towards those marginalized genders. However, you do not have to have any experience whatsoever to be a part of this hackathon. Don't let the word hackathon scare you away into thinking that, I have to hack into something. No, it's just a word that we give to our competitions. But if you don't have any background in computer science, science and you're willing to learn or want to learn more, this is your chance to like create a website or create an app or maybe even create a hardware device. So you don't need any experience whatsoever, but if you do have that experience, come and show us your skills. We have some amazing sponsors such as Google, Paycom, and Valero that are sponsoring, and they will be providing a bunch of swag, a bunch of rewards, and maybe an internship opportunity. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, Izzy, our Vice President, and Mira, our Public Relations Officer, will be our host for today. So go ahead and give them a warm clap of applause. And we're going to go ahead and get started with today's meeting.
Hi everyone. So before we start, we are going to do some introductions. So please introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Ryan White. I am a senior cybersecurity major here at UTSA. I minor in digital forensics. I'm also the president of the CompTIA student chapter, if you know about them. I was a previous Verizon cybersecurity intern, and I currently intern at Arctic Wolf, which is a cybersecurity firm.
Hi guys, I'm Stephanie Eunice. I am a junior computer science major at UTSA, and I was the former vice president of ACM-W. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Christina Zhang. I'm currently a senior at UTSA majoring in computer science, minoring in mathematics. I was previously a Rowdy Creators officer, and I also did a summer internship with Google and will be returning back next summer for them.
Thank you for introducing, and now we'll start with our... Oh, what? Oh, I'm sorry. We're gonna head off to Tiffany.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Awesome. So I'm Tiffany. I graduated in May 2021 with a BS in computer science. I was in leadership for the ACM org and specifically for ACM-W while I was at UTSA. I just started at Nike about 3 weeks ago as a software engineer. My hobbies include triathlon and cycling racing, and I just adopted 2 fur baby cats, Moxie and Hara.
You go ahead and
Testing. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Hello? Is that better? Testing.
Weird hacking thing, but
Hello. My name is Tiffany, and I just graduated in May 2021 with a BS in computer science. I was in leadership for ACM, and more specifically for ACM-W while I was at UTSA. I just started with Nike about 3 weeks ago as a software engineer. My hobbies are triathlon and cycling racing, and I just adopted 2 fur baby cats, Moxie and Hara.
Yay, thank you, Tiffany. So, can you hear? Okay. Our first question is, what's inspired or motivated you to pursue a degree in tech, and more importantly, why tech?
So I knew a lot of kids, as probably everyone here, who started programming when they were 3. I did not do that. I was playing with paints when I was 3, and I did arts in high school. But then I realized it wasn't for me to pursue professionally, and so because I was good in math and logic, I just went with my gut feeling and majored in computer science in college, and it turned out to be a right decision for me. It gives me a lot of creativity and autonomy to do what I would like to do. And tech is such a broad field. You know, there's so much you can do with it. You could build stuff, you could test stuff, you could play with new technology, create new technology. So there's a lot to do.
Yes. So in my sophomore year of high school, I took my first CS class that was geared towards art and gaming, and I loved it. It was familiar to me because of science courses and math courses, but at the same time, it was different because programming is less equations and more of the planning and logic. That's the part that I really liked. To be honest, though, the thing that sold me was in my junior year of high school when my teacher started his lecture and he was like, "Who wants to make a lot of money this summer? There are these things called programming internships," and wrote down a bunch of top companies that were providing internships. And I was like, I like this thing called programming and I can make a decent living. And yeah, from there I was like, okay, CS is it.
So I actually didn't take any computer science classes before college. The only class, I don't know if it's considered as a class, was in like 7th grade where I learned HTML. But at the time, I didn't really know what it was. It was just like a computer class. But I remember my sophomore year of high school, I started looking into what I wanted to major in. And I ran into like computer science, software engineering, and I did like a Khan Academy course. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. And the reason I did tech was because it's such a broad field. Like, let's say I end up doing software engineering and I don't like it, there's cyber. If I don't like cyber, there's data science. So I knew I'd be set for my whole life if I just focused on tech.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I'm in cybersecurity, and initially when I was younger, I was mostly interested in criminal justice, but I had a huge passion and kind of aptitude for technology. And then when I figured out about cybersecurity, that's like the perfect mix of criminal justice and technology. So it just kind of worked out that way. And that's how I landed here. But more generally, I choose to pursue cybersecurity just because I believe that humans have an intrinsic right to security and privacy that they're born with. And I've made it my goal in my career to make sure that that intrinsic right is respected and prioritized.
Thank you. Our second question is, have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, and how were you able to overcome it?
Okay, so yes, I have experienced imposter syndrome. I think it's a super common thing that a lot of us deal with. I know if you were at the previous ACM panel, the internship panel, we talked about it a little bit. And I've experienced it in a couple of different ways. I know we all have generally like maybe the people that you're working with, maybe they go to Duke and Yale and Harvard and we go to UTSA, or maybe you just feel imposter syndrome because you're a freshman and you're working with seniors. Something that I, more relevant to this panel, would worry about was, what if they only hired me because I'm a woman? That's something that I kind of like battled a lot with myself, but you just have to remember that if you're qualified and they've chosen you as a candidate based on a very long, extensive competitive internship process or interview process, and you've impressed them and you have the qualifications required of the position, you're there for a reason. And it's not because they're trying to make some sort of gender, race, whatever quota. It's because you belong there. And also, like I said in the previous panel, a little bit of wisdom from one of my life's greatest mentors was that anyone who feels imposter syndrome deserves to be where they are, and anyone who doesn't feel imposter syndrome may display a confidence that is not necessarily entitled to them, because people with imposter syndrome are the ones that are going to have the strong work ethic that is needed to become what they're expected to be, and they're going to put in the extra work and time required of them.
So yes, I've definitely experienced imposter syndrome. I would say it's definitely gotten better because my freshman year, I really didn't know much about coding. I remember walking into my first class on Monday, my first day, and I was really nervous, but what really helped me was that not like fake it till you make it, but just have the confidence, know that the more you do, the better you'll get. And the way I coped with it was that, and it really helped to do stuff outside of the course. Like everything you do in the course is really important, but I've noticed that not only just in imposter syndrome, but in general, the things you do outside of your course probably matter more for the companies that you want to work for the companies that you want to do like internships for, because you show them that you're interested in tech, not just for these courses, but for yourself. Like you want to learn, you want to be creative. And for imposter syndrome, you end up learning things that not everyone else is learning in your course.
So I wanted to comment and say, you're supposed to not know stuff at first, and there's so much to know that over time you eventually learn about a specific field or thing, but it's okay not to know. For me, I've definitely experienced imposter syndrome. Believe me, more people experience it than you think. So don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled, especially women in tech. It can be even more difficult to feel like you belong when not so many people in the room look like you. And so this is important to keep in mind. I haven't overcome imposter syndrome. It comes in, I feel like. For me, what helps is finding other women in tech who can be mentors or even peers. And reminding myself that the best technologies are built when there's a variety of people coming from all different walks of life and backgrounds with diverse perspectives. So
it sounds like everyone on this panel has experienced imposter syndrome. I mean, I definitely have also, but I've gotten a lot better at managing it. And like one of the things that has helped me is not to repress it per se, but knowing how to manage it, knowing, how to cope with it, what things you're telling yourself that might be toxic, and also know that what people seem like and what they put out as external face value is kind of what they know, and you also know a lot of things. So you need to take a step back and validate yourself, tell yourself, oh, I have accomplished a lot and I have learned a lot. And yeah.
Those are some great tips. Thanks for sharing. How do the stereotypes of an individual in tech influence your decisions or perspectives, or have they ever?
I think a lot of people have the stereotype that computer scientists or engineers are pompous, introverted, or avoidant of like exploration. But working in the industry and hanging out with people who have been in the industry for a really long time, they tend to be really supportive of newbies and of your progress, and they're really willing to help you. I'm sure that you might meet some of those bad stereotypes in real life once or a few times, but I wouldn't let that affect you.
Yeah, so mine's a little more specific. I always thought a computer scientist must be stellar at math. And so that's not necessarily the case. There's so much more to computer science outside of just algorithms and equations, which are really important, but it's not just that. I'm not bad at math, but I wouldn't call myself stellar either. So, but any of those are okay. There's a place for you in computer science. UTSA can only teach so much. There's so many things to learn about computer science. There's so much more to find your talents in. So if you maybe don't see your talents in your courses, then that's okay. There's plenty more to do. It's up to you to define who a computer scientist is.
we're gonna go ahead and get started again. Up we go back to start up again.
All right, guys, we're go back
Tiffany,
on now,
it's your
guys.
turn again.
Yes, is this question number 3 about stereotypes as a computer scientist?
Yes.
Okay. I always thought that computer scientists have to be stellar at math, but that's not necessarily the case. There's so much more within computer science outside of algorithms and equations, and although those are important, there's just so much more to learn. I'm not bad at math, but I wouldn't call myself stellar either. But any of those are okay, even if you are not great at math. The point is that there's a place for you in computer science. UTSA can only teach so much. So outside of courses, there's so much more to learn. And this also goes for other sciences as well, not just computer science. There's so much more to learn and to find your talents. Like what are your talents within science and tech? And it's up to you to define who a computer scientist is.
So one stereotype I would say, just like Tiffany, is that all computer science students or anyone in tech is a genius and they know everything about math, and not just math, but I would say anything about a computer. So I always get my family asking like, oh, hey, this app's not working. Can you fix it? I'm like, no, I don't know how to fix that. But I would say the way you could overcome that is that basically, I don't know how to explain it, but wait, hold on. I'm losing my train of thought. Just that, like, I guess how Tiffany said that everything you do outside of a classroom is really important, and every computer science student is different. And I think it's very important to have a life outside of what you do in computer science, what you do in tech, which is why I loved ACM-W, because we also had like our social events, we do other things. And even though like when I was there, it was just online, it was still always a good time. And yeah, like how Tiffany also said, the things outside of the courses you take are really important.
I kind of want to go off of what I was talking about with imposter syndrome, and how I kind of mentioned worrying about, if they only hired me because I was a woman. So one of the very first run-ins I had with, I guess, stereotypes surrounding cybersecurity, but also just women in tech, was my freshman year of college. I was just getting started in cybersecurity. I hadn't really had any experience yet. And there was a man I knew that had said to me, there's no way that you're in cybersecurity with the way that you look. You'll never be taken seriously in the field. And obviously, if you told me that now, I would just laugh at you because I think it's a little ridiculous and a little bit funny. But at the time when I was a newbie and I didn't know anything, I hadn't had any experience, it was actually like pretty painful for me to hear that. Just because it was the industry that I was really passionate about and really wanted to go into. And there was someone who maybe had an easier time possibly getting into the industry telling me that I would not be taken seriously based on what I presume is because I'm a woman or I look like a woman. And so that was something that really impacted my beginning of getting into cybersecurity. But like I said, if someone said that to me now, I would just laugh at them because I've grown so much between my freshman year and my senior year. And I've had my experiences. I've had all these jobs and accomplishments and things that reinforce to me that I am qualified. I am capable. I deserve to be here. And I've made it. And to anyone who deals with comments like these, because I'm sure that many of you do, I think the best attitude to have about it is just kind of the watch me perspective. Because once you make it to the place, like for example, the place that I'm in right now, I did it. Like they watched me. I'm here. I'm on a panel talking about how I got here. And everything's going to be okay one day, but you really just have to build the confidence and assurance in yourself that you are capable, qualified, and deserve to be where you are. And then once you have that within yourself, no one can say anything to, take that away from you.
Thank you. Our next question is, what is one piece of advice you would tell to a first-year student in CS or STEM that you wish someone would have told you?
Okay, I love this question. My advice is going to be ask a million questions. So I came in kind of like what you were saying. Everyone seems like they were coding since they were 3 years old, and I came in and knew pretty much nothing. You're going to be in classes with people who are just seem like geniuses in what they do, and you might be in the same shoes as we were, which we didn't really know what was going on. We were thrown into the water, but we just have to accept that the people that we're intimidated by because they feel like geniuses ask a million questions to become geniuses. And so that's just the path that we have to take as well. No one is going to look down on you because you're asking questions, because at least you're putting in that effort, and that effort is exactly what you need to be successful in your field, especially in something like computer science, technology, cybersecurity. Every single day changes just with the general innovation of technology. You have to learn something new every single day, and questions are going to be one of the most important skills that you have.
I would tell myself if I was a freshman again, don't be scared. Just like how Ryan said that some people might look like they know everything or they've been coding since they were 3, and some probably do. But like Ryan said again, don't be afraid to ask questions. Go to your professor's office hours, because building that relationship is really important. And not only with your professor, but with your other classmates. I would say like networking, but that's not really networking. That's just making friends, being in a group, just like ACM-W. Get yourself out there and realize that you're not the only one. You're not alone. And even if you feel like you don't have the confidence, build it, do your own thing. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just focus on yourself, make your own things. And like I said before, the courses are important, but I honestly think that everything else is much more important, like ACM-W, the friends you make, and then the things you build. Like if you want to make a website, do it. If you want to try to get an internship, that's very important. Make an app, because I think that's much more important than the courses you take.
I want to make a quick comment building off of what Stephanie said. I think that, and this is more geared towards CS, just from my experience, assignments as classes go on will take longer than you think. So on that. Two things I want to touch on is internships and personal projects. I feel like those two things for CS and other STEM majors as well is really important. For internships, build your resume starting your freshman year, even if you don't have that much on it. Apply for internships, even in your freshman year, because maybe you might land one interview, you never know. Go to the career fair starting your freshman year. Even though you think you may not get a job, maybe the internships you don't have the proper qualifications, you don't know. So, and even for practice. So even if you get an interview or not, practice is what's important. And seeing that recruiters that maybe you go your freshman year and you see the same recruiter your sophomore year, they'll notice you. And then you go back your junior year and they'll notice you. So that's really important. As far as personal projects, go to hackathons or events for your STEM major. Join a team or just build your own project. Find time to learn about your STEM major outside of just courses, because these are the things that these two things, internships and personal projects, are going to be what make you stand out.
Yeah, so on the same token of asking questions and getting extracurricular experience, I totally agree. Don't be afraid to ask questions and do extracurricular experiences. I'm wearing a MLH Hackathon shirt from the 2020 season just to attest. And also, don't be afraid to acquaint yourself with people from different fields. And again, hackathons are a really good way of doing that. And also, when I did my internship, I really learned that there were people from all kinds of experiences and all kinds of fields working on various types of teams. And a large company like Google, you would expect many, many teams, but it's true. There are many skill sets and people do different things. Some people are more product management based, so like they deal with the business side a little bit more. Some people are doing compiler stuff. Some people are just testing and doing infrastructure, doing cloud stuff. There's really a lot of options. And since you're young, you should learn a lot and try to just explore the field as much as you can, and don't be afraid of failing in trying those things. So
Thank you. Our next question is, what are some struggles you have faced in your tech or academic career, and how did you overcome them?
So school teaches you a lot of mathematical or abstract level languages, but really when you get to working, they teach you more practical tools and infrastructure. And so you might find yourself needing to learn how to transition from school-based projects to, work and industry-related projects. And another thing is school doesn't teach you people skills. And one of the most important things that you need in the field, honestly, I've heard from many engineers, is being able to communicate. And so that means like being able to communicate and explain very technical concepts to people who are not so technical based, being able to talk to people who are more business minded, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as struggles, I guess partially my CS career is partially being built on throughout college. So I guess starting my freshman year, in my freshman year, I was really shy and introverted when I didn't want to be. And I slowly and painfully overcame this by constantly putting myself in uncomfortable situations. For example, sitting in at ACM-W officer meetings and just listening and seeing what the officers were doing. And even though I was like, I don't understand what's happening, I'm kind of scared, but that's okay. I was learning and pushing myself. And eventually the officers gave us tasks. So I was scared that I maybe wouldn't complete these tasks well, but guess what? I did fine, and you will too. So just push yourself. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, because that's how you grow. Yeah.
So I would say two main struggles that I had was that I felt like I didn't start extracurriculars or like my own projects soon enough my freshman year, which is definitely okay. I think it's for sure never too late. So what I did is, I think it was like the very end of my freshman year, I decided to become a junior officer for ACM-W. So then I was able to become the vice president, and it just grows from there. And then also another struggle is internships. They are very valuable, but they're also very hard to get in some ways. And I didn't know, like my freshman year and my sophomore year, I didn't know that you could still get an internship. So I didn't even try. So this past summer, I wasn't able to get an internship, but the way I overcame that is that I made my own project. Like I wasn't just going to sit around and do nothing. You could also take courses at UTSA, but the own projects you do are important. So I decided to build a website. So now trying to get an internship next summer, that's something I could talk to my interviewers about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think two things for me. First off, kind of the intimidation of the people that we were talking about that kind of seem like geniuses. It was kind of scary for me to come in my freshman year and see peers that were my age be so knowledgeable, like intensely knowledgeable about what we were talking about, and I really had no idea. But it's 3 years later, and sometimes I scare myself with the amount of knowledge that I have, and I've made it, and it took a short amount of time. And honestly, like I said before, asking the questions and like she said, getting the experiences that you need to build up those skills and that knowledge within yourself. It's okay to not know anything. It really is. Everyone starts from knowing nothing. If you started coding at 3 years old and 1 year or two, you didn't know anything. Everyone has to start somewhere. We're all starting where we are, and you will make it much faster than you think you will. And the second thing that I struggled with, like she said, was internships as well. So I'm doing my degree in 3 years. So this is technically my third year of college, but I'm graduating in May. And I did not get internships my first 2 years because I just wasn't really thinking about it. I didn't feel like I had the skills where anyone would accept me into their program. Because I mean, what had I taken, like Python? Like I didn't think anyone was going to care about my skills or anything. And so my first internship was this summer. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, someone was waving at me. So I didn't have an internship till this summer. It was my first one, and I want to kind of reiterate what my previous panelists said about applying as much as you can, because you really have to put yourself out there, even if you feel like you don't deserve whatever positions. I'm 100% sure that those of us that got internships at Google, Nike, and Verizon were not 100% confident that we were going to be accepted. I think we probably felt pretty insecure sending in our applications compared to our peers around the country and the world that were also competing for that spot. And somehow we made it into our internship programs. And we literally did that by just sending our applications anywhere we saw fit and maybe didn't see fit. And we succeeded. So sometimes you really just have to put yourself out there, even if you don't have the confidence. You got to pretend you have the confidence, and you can accomplish so much more than you think.
Okay, so due to technical difficulties, we will be staying 10 more minutes. But we are going to take this time to get any questions from the audience here or online on YouTube or Twitch. So does anyone have any questions? You. Do it? Yeah. Okay, so to say that question again, she was asking, what is your favorite thing in ACM, social, or did you say education? Or any aspect of ACM? What is your favorite? Oh, okay. I guess I'll answer that. Yeah, at first I was like, I had the same feelings where it's like, I don't think I am smart enough to join this organization. Everyone here is really smart, so I shouldn't do it. But being a junior, when I was a junior officer, like learning and meeting new people who are really up there has helped me grow. And I guess it's helped me learn more about the field and things like that. And I've met really nice people. It's really great.
Cool. So like I said, I am the president of a different organization, a cybersecurity org on campus. But something that I so deeply admire about ACM-W is the diversity, because even though it's ACM women, I mean, it is just extremely open and welcoming to anyone, not only women. If you are here in person and not on the live stream, there's men in our audience. We have people of all different backgrounds, races, ethnicities, and I just think it's really, really beautiful that there is a space that has been made for tech students at UTSA where they can come together regardless of who they are and be here, and I just think that's really beautiful.
So my previous involvement was with Rowdy Creators, which is a sub-org within ACM, still is. And for me, it was just gaining the experience of learning how to work with different types of people, and learning their personal way of working and what works for them in managing them and also giving them tasks. And just sort of having all of the pieces come together to be a cohesive team. It was very difficult for me, and there was a lot of learning that I had to do. And so that was a really valuable experience. Would I do it again? Maybe not in the short time, because I have learned that I am more of an engineer and less of a business-oriented person. But again, those kind of experiences really will give you more insight on what you want to do.
Tiffany, do you want to go ahead and share?
Yeah, so for me, one of my favorite parts about ACM-W is definitely just the coming together of people within tech fields. So I joined leadership for ACM, and specifically ACM-W. I was president my sophomore year. And I just really enjoyed the aspect of helping teaching others to learn about what's out there. Because just like me personally, I was thinking a lot about, how do I get a job? What's the way, how can I get a job? How can I use this in the future once I graduate for college. And so I was thinking a lot about those things, and just sharing those resources with others, as well as learning some of the stuff I didn't know from previous officers and previous meetings, and spreading that so that is available for everyone, is probably the coolest thing about ACM, since it's entirely student-led and it provides so many opportunities and teaches people about technologies and how to get a job and what opportunities are out there. So yeah.
Thank you. I guess I'll share my experience as well. In high school, I was in UIL computer science. I was the only girl. I felt really alone, and I remember saying to myself, like, I don't want to feel this way again. So I found ACM-W. My computer science professor actually mentioned it. I registered, became a junior officer. Now I'm vice president, and I just love how like I feel so included and involved, and it's just really empowering, I think. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, go ahead. Resource. I'm sorry, can you repeat resources for? Oh, okay. I know me personally, I still don't know what I want to concentrate in, but I know ACM-W, we're having meetings surrounding all the different UTSA concentrations, like cyber security, software engineering, data science, etc. So those are some ways you can just get more information about those different concentrations.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, it was what are the sources for exploring different like fields in the industry? Or
This is more of a women's conference, but I'm pretty sure it's open for everyone. Grace Hopper Conference. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of that, but if you haven't, look into that. That website and organization has a lot of resources. Yeah, just look into that conference and look into AnitaB.org. That's a really good website, and it can provide you with a lot of knowledge. YouTube, blogs, find some influencers, people to follow on Twitter, and kind of explore that way.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I would say that I've learned a lot through hackathons and through my friends and working with my friends in hackathons. But if you're going to do that, make sure you're really good friends with them, because hackathons are very stressful. And yes, but do a hackathon and kind of create a project that you want. And then from that, you'll be able to look at different people's projects, what they're doing that fits the prompt. And also during hackathons, they'll give you different categories. They'll give different prizes for different categories. And those categories are something that you can look into as well. Such as like, oh no, you're good. Such as like, let me expand on that. But like Google Cloud or use of Amazon or best website domain, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think one of the great things about college is that even though you're majoring in something very specific, the coursework that you're required to or get to choose to take can introduce you to a lot of different ideas that maybe you're not looking into so much. So for example, me being in cybersecurity, I still took Python and Java. I learned how to code. Did it teach me that I don't ever want to do that? Yes. No offense to all the amazing coders out there. I'm sure y'all are great, but not really my strong suit, I guess I could say. But also in cyber, I get to take classes about law and philosophy and ethics, which is also really interesting. So I don't have to be a hacker if I don't want to. I could be a coder. I could write legal policy for cybersecurity. With computer science, there's so many things you could do. You could code, you could get into cybersecurity, you could get into artificial intelligence and machine learning, data science, all kinds of things that you likely are going to have classes in college. I mean, I can't say that for a fact, but I'm sure that you have things that are similar to that. And also just speaking with your professors, because a lot of them have very extensive backgrounds in the field. So a lot of my professors were ex-military or government that worked for all the scary three-letter, FBI, CIA. And the stories that they have to tell you about their careers and everything that they've experienced in their lives help you kind of understand what you're so deeply interested in that you might not have even thought about at first. So yeah, that's the advice that I would give.
In terms of sources, our ACM meetings really are resourceful. We talk a lot about the different kind of fields and opportunities. But yeah, I agree. Hackathons are really great. I had a great team, and we learned like no one knew HTML, but we learned it on that day or however long the hackathon was. I think it was 2 days or 1 day. We learned a new language that day, and that was really fun. Hackathons have workshops sometimes, and that's where we learned about GitHub. So hackathons are really great, and ACM holds really good meetings. So, we have a virtual comment. What interview questions should we be aware of, if any? I will go ahead.
Okay. So I'm gonna avoid the technical ones because those can kind of be answered in your classes. But when I was first doing interviews for my internships and full-time roles, there was a genre of questions that would really stump me or surprise me. And they had legitimately nothing to do with my school or cybersecurity or anything. They were like, tell me about a time when you failed, or tell me about a time when you were leading a team and one of your team members wasn't pulling their weight, or something like this that had legitimately, well, you assume it has nothing to do with your job. Obviously, teamwork is very important for your job. But when you get asked those questions up front in an interview, you're like, okay, now I have to go through all of the stories of my entire life and think about the best one to give this interviewer so that they think that they should hire me. And it can be difficult to come up with those stories on the spot. Also, you don't want to make yourself look bad because you failed in a bad way. But you also don't want to twist it to be like, if they ask you, oh, what's your weakness? Well, my weakness is that I'm a perfectionist, and it's actually a strength because everything I do is perfect. Well, we can't do that either. So you need to make sure that you have a good balance and prepare those answers ahead of time. So what I like to do whenever I was going into an interview is I would write down, you can look up the most common like behavioral questions on the internet, but I would write down certain scenarios that had been really impactful in my journey, like times when I was leading a team and something went wrong, all of these things. I would write them down, just little notes about them. So if they did ask me a question and my mind just went blank, like it probably will do, you can always, reference those and make sure that you're giving a good answer and not something that, sounds like you're a little nervous or unsure.
So to me, there's no gold standard answer to this question because every company is different and every company has their own set of standards they want to see in a qualified candidate. I guess, for example, I interviewed for Tesla, and Tesla was really adamant on knowing why I wanted to work for them. And that wasn't really so much what I prepared, I guess, because that's not really very standard of most interviews that I did for other companies. But that was one thing that they wanted. They wanted to see that their candidate was really passionate about working for their company specifically. And so a little bit of research about, how they operate or what products they're working on can go a long way. I guess on the technical side, if you want to practice, LeetCode and HackerRank are great resources. I did that for like a month, up leading to like my interview season. And so, yeah.
Tiffany, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. So I would say, kind of going off of what Christina said, do your research. So that is just looking into the company, seeing, what they're about, because a lot of times, like I'm guilty of applying and not having no idea what the company does. I've definitely done that many times. So, and if oh, I have an interview, then look into that. Find something that interests you about the company, and maybe talk about that during the interview. I'm also steering away from technical questions. Like addressing that. There's no specific technical questions that you'll be asked necessarily. Like a lot of others were saying, it really varies based on the company. I've had interviews for computer science related internships that don't even ask me really that technical questions at all. So it really depends. But yeah, I would just say, be prepared, and also find something that you're genuinely interested in about, so it's easier to talk about it in the interview, that is related to whether the company or yourself and your skills in STEM, or they don't have to be skills, but something that you're just interested about. I think that is a way I've learned to not feel as nervous in an interview, is just to talk about things that are exciting to you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Oh. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and save that question for next time. We're going to go ahead and conclude our meeting. Thank you everyone for attending today. Make sure you signed in if you haven't done so, and we'll see you at our next meeting. Thank you so much.